Did you know that Pigeon Key was once a bustling town during the construction of the Florida Keys Overseas Railroad? Pigeon Key and the old 7 Mile Bridge are two hidden gems that are often overlooked by visitors to the Florida Keys, but they hold a special place in the history of this beautiful region. This is Daryl
And Aaron
on Travel with D&E. Join us as we take on the challenge of exploring the hidden gem of Pigeon Key and the Florida Keys and the old 7 Mile Bridge. Let's see what secrets we can uncover.
Pigeon Key has a rich history dating back to the early 20th century when it was used as a construction camp for the Florida Keys Overseas Railroad. The railroad, which was completed in 1912, was an engineering marvel at the time, and it connected the Florida Keys to the mainland like never before, and Pigeon Key was right in the heart of it all. Henry Flagler, a visionary entrepreneur and Standard Oil magnate, envisioned connecting the Florida Keys to the mainland via Revolutionary Railroad. His ambitious plan aimed to extend the Florida East Coast and Railway all the way to Key West, with Pigeon Key serving as a crucial construction site. So Pigeon Key served as a vital construction camp and headquarters for the Overseas Railroad project. The island buzzed with activities as workers toiled to lay tracks, build bridges, and establish essential infrastructure to support the railroad operation. The railroad operated until 1935 when a huge hurricane with 200-plus mile-an-hour winds came through.
Now let's take a quick look at some of the buildings that are still there. This is a section gang quarters. It was a bunkhouse for all the railroad workers, which is what they called it using railroad terminology. As you can see in the picture, it really brings your mind back to where 64 men lived here side by side and toiled up to 16 hours a day. There were a number of these buildings back in the day. Today, children come here on field trips to learn about Pigeon Key and the role it played in building the railroad to Key West. Pigeon Key housed over 400 workers at its peak.
This is the Assistant Bridge Tender's house, which was built in 1912. They built it because they were transitioning again to a bridge tender maintenance role rather than construction. They wanted a nice house for families. It now contains beautiful and historical artifacts and pictures inside the museum, and it's a lot of fun to just kind of walk around and look at all the old pictures and how things were back in the day. After our tour, we spent most of our time here walking through the museum. There are so many artifacts and so much information, it takes a little time. It's a really cool museum, probably the most important part of our whole trip to Pigeon Key.
And this was a commissary building built back in 1912. With the population on the key more stable in the maintenance mode, more buildings such as a commissary with groceries and other items for sale were built for a more stationary workforce. And this is the bridge tender's house built in 1912. And the paint foreman's house built also back in 1912. The bridge foreman's house in 1916. And strangely enough, the honeymoon cottage in 1952. There's also a nice boat dock that's available for a stop at the island. Fishing is also allowed off the pier, assuming you have the proper fishing license. This is not original, obviously, as you can tell.
If you take a close look at what remains of the old 7 Mile Bridge, you can see the evolution of engineering and construction. Remember, it was originally a railroad bridge, so no need for handrails, space for 2 lanes, or anything of that nature. All you had to do was get a train through there. Once it was sold to the state of Florida after the 1935 hurricane, it had to be rebuilt into a 2-way road with handrails and additional width added so 2 vehicles could pass each other in opposite directions. The old railroad ties were reused in the structure. The width of the bridge increased to a whopping 22 feet. It was called the Bridge of Mirrors because if you didn't fold in the mirrors while you were passing another car, they would get hit and break.
And they have a saltwater pool, which houses multiple sharks, groupers, snappers, snook, tarpon, and many more. You can join the staff after the 1 p.m. tour ends, and they feed the fish living in the saltwater pond. As you can tell, they were gathering around us when we walked by there. They were hoping we were going to feed them. Anyhow, it's amazing to see all the fish here in the saltwater pool.
What piqued our interest as we drove past Pigeon Key and the old 7 Mile Bridge a few times was a cool-looking blue and yellow train down from the pull-off on that main highway. After seeing it a few times, we finally decided to stop and check it out. The train will bring you along the reconstructed portion of the old 7 Mile Bridge to Pigeon Key. A historian either rides with you or is already there ready to give you a guided tour of the island. It was a really neat way to get to Pigeon Key and then back safely.
As we explored Pigeon Key and the old 7 Mile Bridge, we couldn't help but feel grateful that we had stumbled upon this hidden gem. The scenery is breathtaking, the history is fascinating, and the atmosphere is peaceful and serene. It is a truly unique experience you won't find anywhere else in the Florida Keys. In conclusion, Pigeon Key and the old 7 Mile Bridge is a hidden gem that deserves to be explored and appreciated. Whether you're a history buff, a nature lover, or simply looking for a unique experience, this gem has something to offer for everyone. If you like this video, check out all our other Key West and Florida Key videos, including the Everglades and Dry Tortugas, and all our other destination spots. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and as always, we will see you in the next video.